So here is my software that I built. It's called TakeOffTrack. Every construction starts with drawings. You upload the drawings. The output is a bill of materials that I can edit, delete, change. This one drawing would probably take 10 minutes. My software does it in about a minute.
When you talk about Claude, like your coworkers and your friends, like do they think you're talking like different language?
I don't talk about it anymore because they're using ChatGPT to figure out recipes for dinner. It's great. I use that too, but at the same time, it's like, man, this is making my life way easier at work.
Hi, I'm Todd, and I've spent the last decade building software for the trades. I'm talking HVAC, plumbing, electrical, landscaping, and every home service business in between. For my entire career, building software for the trades meant waiting for Silicon Valley to notice you. But that wait is over. Founders on the trades are building their own tools now, and they're doing it better than any outsider could. This show is where I spotlight them. Welcome to Blue Collar Builders. Let's get into it.
All right, so thanks for doing this, Cory. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
I've been talking to a lot of people in the trades, and obviously I spent a lot of time in the flooring industry. And online, I hear a lot of people say, well, do you expect someone in the trades to use Claude code? And my answer is always yes. And if they're not doing it today, they definitely will in 6 or 12 months. But I think a lot of people are doing it today. And you reached out to say that you were. And you inspired me after our first conversation to kind of tell your story. So if you don't mind, can you do like a quick intro on your background, how you got into Claude? And you mentioned you were doing some Excel work and realized like you don't really want to do it in Excel anymore. So give some background on yourself and kind of how you found yourself in the world of Claude.
So like you said, I'm in the industrial construction industry, think chemical plants, refineries of that sort. South of Houston, my world is heavily industrial based. And a lot of my job, I'm a project controls engineer by education, mechanical engineer by education, and my world revolves around Excel. I kind of hit the limits of Excel for my field updates.
And are you self-taught Excel? I mean, like how did...
Yeah. Well, we did some Excel training in school, but it doesn't teach what we need to know. But self-taught with Excel, Reddit, Google, and then as AI came out, I learned how to write better formulas and macros with AI. And then when Claude Code came out, almost a year ago now, I started dabbling with web-based Excel-ish tools so I can get my updates from the field. And as Claude Code has evolved, it wasn't around probably Thanksgiving when Claude 4.5 came out. It just really revolutionized my world to where I'm a non-coder. I've never written anything more than a macro maybe a year ago, from going from nothing, didn't even know what command line interface was and terminal code. I write all my Claude code inside the terminal now through VS Code, but
yeah, it's
so
unbelievable. Do you have like friends or like other people at the company that like showed you this, or like
no, totally self-taught. I don't really have anybody to bounce ideas off of or think this is a good idea other than AI. And AI is a great, brainstorming. That was, funny enough, that's my favorite command, brainstorming through superpowers. But so
you're saying stuff, the fact that you're using superpowers and VS Code, it's like you are just as you're using this as powerful as anyone would be in Silicon Valley, and you have no software engineering background.
None. I, totally self-taught. I'm, blue collar, born and raised, and I'm just an engineer by education. But yeah, I got really, really good at Excel. But other than that, there's nothing, no IT background, none of that.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is like when you talk about Claude and all these things with like your coworkers and your friends, like do they think you're talking like different language? I mean, I
don't talk about it anymore because it's just, they're using ChatGPT to, figure out recipes for dinner, and it's great. I use that too, but at the same time, it's like, man, this is making my life way easier at work, and even, all around better. And so,
are you addicted yet?
Do what?
Are you addicted to it yet?
It's like a drug. At first, when it first came out, I was just like so many ideas, and I was trying all these different things. And then that kind of phase went away, and now I'm really focused on like bringing the tool that I built to market now.
Yeah. So you built like a custom bespoke software for your own needs. And again, a lot of people are skeptical that people in the trade can do this, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's all about who has the domain knowledge and expertise. And if you're willing to learn Claude code, like you have the power. Like I think you are in the driver's seat when it comes to this. So can you show us, like, if you can share your screen and show us what you built, why you built it, give us a little run through. I'm super curious.
So here is my software that I built. It's called TakeOffTrack. And what a takeoff is in piping construction, the client sends a set of drawings. So every construction starts with drawings, good construction anyway. And piping is an isometric. And an isometric drawing has all kinds of data in it. And up until now, there hasn't been any good tools that I've come across that can take an isometric drawing, read it, and extract, all the data that comes out of it in a clean and, I would say, editable way that speeds up anybody's workflow. And so every job starts with an estimate, and an estimate starts with a takeoff. And so what I have done is, what you would do is you start with a drawing, start with a job, you upload the drawings, and then each of these drawings takes about, a minute and a half. But the output is, so this is a drawing, and it has all these footage runs, and the output is a bill of materials that I can edit, delete, change.
So when you upload the drawing, it automatically found all these numbers here?
Yeah. And also it counts the welds. That's really been a hard part, where each of these welds is like somebody has to do that in a fabrication shop or in the field, depending. And so this project has 9 butt welds, 3 Olets, and 3 field welds. And those are all different man hours and pricing and,
So how long would it take you to do this, to get to this point manually?
Well, it's physically like pipe A53 PE3, the commodity codes, like you have to physically hand type that into Excel right now. And so this one drawing would probably take 10 minutes. And then count all the welds, and my software does it in one drawing, takes about a minute, and it'll batch. I could do 100 drawings in 5 minutes because I got it in batches. I could do batches of like 10 drawings at a time.
Did you have to train the system on like previous drawings, or how did you train it to kind of know?
I went through a whole training regime, and I could do different clients, and some drawings are better than others depending on the output from the CAD software that the engineers use. And then like the magic in my mind is when you go to the export, you got your weld takeoff, you got your shop material, you got your field material, paint, insulation. This drawings don't have paint or insulation, so it didn't take it off. But so here you could download to Excel and instantly send out like an RFQ, a quote to your vendors for your bolts, your gaskets, different supports, all that has to get bought.
Yeah, you essentially built a takeoff software for this industry that would have taken someone a year to build, and you built it in how long?
It took me probably 8 weeks.
And how much of that was planning and learning Claude code versus actually building the thing?
Well, I started Claude when it first came out, and so, the learning curve has really gone down for me now. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't really know. For me, starting from scratch, I built this from scratch. Everybody's different.
Yeah. Well, are you guys using this internally?
Yeah. We have our own fab shop using it. I have our material guy who orders, and that's another thing. Like a takeoff gets done like 3 or 4 different times on the same project. And so, the estimating does their takeoff, and it really doesn't translate to the field The fabrication shop does their own takeoff, and our field guys do their own takeoff for ordering material. Well, here we could use the same takeoff, export it, and you could slice and dice the export however you need, and yeah, it saves time. And
Are the guys in the shop just like amazed that you built this? Do they like have any idea?
I like to watch the facial expressions the first time the drawing loads up and they see all that's been taken off, and then they really go, because everybody's a little skeptical of this AI revolution, especially the guys in the field, and when they go in and like can see the fine details, like the difference between carbon steel and stainless steel is CS and SS. Well, that's a small little detail, but pricing wise, it's a huge detail. Like stainless steel is X the cost of carbon steel, and that matters. So when they go in and like go through the drawings and see that the details are accurate, and every job is QC, right? You have to do AI in this world is almost intelligent. And so, but the beauty is that you can go in and, like, for example, this weld might not have been a field weld. You could just go ahead and boop, change it. And you can go in and just do a quick little check and make the edits right there. And
it's incredible, man. Yeah, listen, you have all the nuance and all the data. Like, I'm excited to see where this goes. So, like, who is this made for? Like, who now you have a lot of people reaching out to you, I guess, to sign up. So, like, who is this made for? Like, give me the specific industry or the specific, perfect customer to come to you and work with you on this, outside of obviously your own company.
A few of my perfect customers, really one would be like a fabrication shop who fabricates piping and needs to get an accurate weld count and an accurate material count to get pricing and man hours for their proposals. Another would be an industrial general contractor. That's who I am, who does proposals and large projects that have hundreds, thousands of these isometrics. Another would be like a paint insulation contractor doing piping. They care about equivalent footage on insulation and square footage on all that is cost and labor that goes into these. And so 100 drawings in 30 seconds, you can get a price out faster, you can get a price out more accurate. And then when it comes time to revisions, you can instantly see the difference between like a bid set versus a construction set. Any minute changes that used to take, some people don't even bother with it because it takes more time to look for the differences. Sometimes it's not a lot, but sometimes it could be a lot. But in here it can be done almost instantly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's super, super interesting, and I'm glad you reached out. I guess last question here, like, what is your advice for someone that has a blue collar background that looks at the terminal, looks at Claude code and is like, I can't do that. But they obviously have domain expertise and they're spending a lot of their time doing repetitive work. Like, do you have advice for those people on like how to get started or what to do or how to get over the hump?
Yeah, first download Claude. If you don't know how to download Claude, ask Claude and tell you. I've literally like, hey, step by step, screenshot, like step 1, here's what my screen looks like. Where do I click? Step 2, screenshot. What do I click? And like now it tells you, it could read all that stuff, and screenshots and copy paste into the chat is huge. And it's just too easy now. I mean, it'll answer anything you have. And I did this literally with 0 person outside help other than the AI. Screenshots, step by step. Tell me like I don't know anything about this stuff. Explain like I'm 5. You dumb it down to your own knowledge.
Yeah, no, the best way to use Claude is to have Claude help you with Claude. It's like the meta way of thinking about it. And how can people find you? Or I'll link your social information, but what's the name of the software you built, or how can they find it?
So TakeOffTrack.co is the name of this app. It's live, it's being used, and I appreciate any and all feedback. And then on LinkedIn, I'm not very active on social media, but I do stay active on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, I'll link to your LinkedIn so people can find you. Hey, listen, I appreciate you telling your story. I think it's unbelievably interesting, and I hope more people follow in your footsteps. So
yeah, I do
thanks
too.
for showing us.
I'm happy to. Thanks for taking my call, and all the best.
Thanks, Cory.